nervous? Okay, sweet. I'm gonna have you get up the front here. That's the back corner here. Okay. All right. So before we get going, it's a little bit loud. So, Piper, here's some things that you can grab while you're anchoring. Okay. There's some rope handles right here. Grab those. Okay.
You're gonna be right here the whole time.
Grab the upright, but don't grab these black hoses, okay? You grab the upright and hold on to your bag too, okay? You can also, if you need to, Piper, you can also put your hand on one of these and hold on to that too, okay? So there you go. Probably when we get to the end, when we go to land, we'll have you up front, back to this back wall, okay? Let's practice that real quick.
Right where Dad is standing.
Right where Dad's standing. We'll put your back to that. And then you can hold on to either a rope, or you can put your hand on the bottom of the end. Not going anywhere. You're going to be okay. All right. Remember to stay in the basket until I tell you to get out. Okay. This is David. Relatively new. You guys pick it in. All right. This is structural.
Ready?
Oh, hey. How are you doing? Good, all right. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Okay, and then the last thing I want to mention is that as we're flying around, if you guys see anything, power lines, trees, let me know. I probably see them too, but if you see them, just let me know. That's okay. All right? And then smile. You got to enjoy it. I'm just kidding. That's the rules.
Dave, can I get one picture of all y'all?
Yeah, yeah, we're ready.
Alright.
Okay. Amanda, will you go out there and just let me know if there's anybody above me? Just walk out, just make sure there's nobody above me. Okay, good. So,
We'll keep an eye on David just to make sure that he doesn't come back.
doesn't come back at us. Yep, yep.
I think as a strategy, think about an event strategy. If he's climbing,
Yeah.
he's likely to come back here based on the piebald,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what I would do is I would ease
Get up
out
and stay low.
and get up 75 feet or so and just ride the drainage until we can see him above us again.
Okay.
And then we can climb up into that
Okay.
lane.
All right, you guys ready to go fly?
I am ready.
So hands only on the... We're flying.
What a gorgeous day. David started to move out south,
Yeah,
so I think we can
yeah.
jump right up into it.
Okay, you're one with the wind, Dave. See everybody?
both. It looks to me like Corey's gotten up into that north layer.
Yeah.
So I think just, you know, we want to clear the buildings and everything,
Right.
but I think once we'll stay low until we can see they're clear,
Right.
and then we'll climb up into that layer. And obviously they can see us, so if we climb,
Sure.
we're not going to just go screaming up into them.
Right.
If we've got enough offset, we'd be fine, but it's just sort of polite, you know.
As far as right of way goes, they are the ones that would need to climb if
Right.
they
Yep.
see us coming up underneath.
So what you want to do is you want to make sure that if you do feel like you need to climb, that you're climbing at a reasonable rate so that they can get out of the way. You know, just like locking the burners on and climbing up at 600 feet a minute, they
Right.
can't recognize that and get the ascent going quick enough to move. So that's where it gets sketchy. Oh, yeah, I'm still chilled.
Sorry.
Yeah, me too. It's
We
gonna
need
warm
to
up pretty quick
contact the airport.
now. Okay. Springs Tower, hot air balloon 74008.
Air 74008, Springs Tower, good morning. Canada 30.
Springs Tower 74008, copy that, thank you. We are 104 launching out here to your west.
Alright, and what are your colors today?
74008, we are orange and yellow.
Hot air 356.
The other thing you can do to check traffic is look at your shadow. So, fair enough, there's nobody sort of in the close vicinity of us.
Right.
So we can't see Corey, right?
Right.
But he's either way above us or he's off of somewhere that we don't have to worry about him and we can climb right up. And so the shadow plays a really nice sort of marker there. And, you know, it's important if you're in a crowd to figure out which one is yours. But yeah, it's a real good indicator of, oh yeah, I've got clear skies above me. So climb up light, we'll just navigate and take that north.
Did you see that photo that I think it might have been Chris Braden that posted with Brad Rice with his
In the
shadow?
shadow,
over yeah.
That was perfect,
That was
wasn't it?
cool, yeah.
There's Corey.
Over 2 on your right, turn right heading 220.
Where?
Right.
Okay.
At first I saw the picture and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
all right.
It's a picture of a shadow, that's nice. And then I thought, wait a minute, why does that shadow
Why
have
does that
hearts
have
in it?
hearts in it?
Yeah, it's... I'm sure glad to see Scott out here.
Me too. Me too. I told him when I talked to him, I said I was really happy to see him out here. He's like, "You're easily amused, huh?" Yes, but
I have seen pilots go out and get their certificate and they quit.
wow.
And it's usually not intentional. You know, it's
Right.
there are some who they're, especially if they're adding a rating. You know, there'll be an airplane or helicopter guy. Well, I just want to add the rating. I'm not really going to do it. Okay. But I've seen people that go out and get their ticket, and it's such a high stakes event. There's a lot of pressure leading up to it, and then they sort of relax. And then it's just like, well, maybe not this weekend. You know, I got to mow the lawn.
Right.
And so then just week after week go by, and it's like, I don't know, it's been so long. I don't know if I can. And
Right.
They easily get spooked. And we're actually almost perfectly level right now. We're changing directions though, and sometimes that gives you that sense of descending. At this stage, it's pretty hard to trust your gut because it's an unusual spaceway.
367, we're at the end of 171. About 57, Springs Town. For takeoff. Don't pick up 171, let's go, 5367.
Do we leave those crew radios accessible?
Yeah, it's on the front seat of the truck.
Not too bad, is it? Pretty cool, huh? So when are you getting your pilot's license?
Oh.
I'm still scared.
I bet you get it before Jada does.
I don't see Corey anymore.
Nice,
do,
up
he's just
to her.
barely up.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty calm.
It is. Go up a little bit more and see if we can't get something.
Like the balloon go.
Look for different wind layers.
Turn and look this way, look at the mountain.
And now American 1323, period 10. So 626, contact departure, good morning. Captain 367, good day. American 1323, Springs. 7 left, cleared for takeoff. Please pick up 17 left, American 1323.
So you see all that concrete out there, all that open space and all this concrete? That's the airport.
And look at that, there's 4 C-130s sitting out
Parked
around the
over
front.
there.
I just want to get out of this place. I don't know why.
Slowly.
Yeah, we're not moving very much, are we?
Are we descending a little right now?
Just a hair, yeah.
It's also a bit of an illusion because David's going up.
Right.
And that gives you the sense of us.
Right. See, there's an airplane out there taking off on the far runway.
None of our crews look like they're in a tremendous hurry,
No.
do they?
Why are they going down?
It's actually level. The detective looks like he's going there. He's got a wind that's going to the south, and we're
American
almost
1323, contact departure, have put down condition.
might be imaginary, but I feel like we're going to
Feel like there's a hair of it, yeah.
just barely. We're not going to set any speed records today.
Up and down, up and down.
Corey was going up and up, and so I was thinking we might see him,
Right, I was hoping.
but
Scott by himself?
he's certainly got. He may not be current, actually, now that I think about it.
Oh, yeah.
But certainly at these temperatures, he'd have enough capacity for a passenger.
Right. Hey, there's that north left.
there somewhere, but I don't see them. You know, they've made some balloons where there's little windows in the top
Seen those.
with clear plastic so you can see through it.
So you can just look up and there's a whole sky.
Yep.
Huh. Why does their temp show 1D?
That's ID, means it's not finding a turtle.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah. It's a temperature sensor that's up on the top of the balloon. And, we had problems with it the other day, and then we changed the battery.
It seemed to work. It was working yesterday.
It worked great yesterday.
We are. Scott was playing with his camera.
Yeah, we're not going to land here. It'd be interesting if we could get up into that north. We might actually be able to box back into our launch site. I don't know if we can get there, but it'd be kind of fun.
Right there.
That's where he took
off. Yep.
Doesn't feel like we've gone very far, does it?
It's so small now.
That's 6.4 acres of land right there.
It is.
Worth $530,000.
It's so ridiculous. I mean, I understand why, but at the same time, that's still a lot of money.
It is. Skip said last night that he had talked to sort of somebody who knew the Russian,
Okay.
and the Russian had said that his intention is to build a hotel there eventually.
Bummer.
He probably will. Yeah.
Who owns that field?
Yeah, because that field would be a pretty good alternative, wouldn't it?
Right.
There actually is a way you can. The way I found that screenshot I sent you.
Yeah.
You can basically go to the county assessor.
Right.
They're still pretty high. The real key is, can you see where his shadow is? Out there somewhere. So the fact that you don't see his shadow is super key. Because when the balloon gets really low, the shadow will be really close to the balloon. And so the fact that we don't see his shadow says it's pretty high. It's just that he's coming down and going south, and we're going north, and it's a little bit of an illusion. It ought to be, if you follow the shadows, it ought to be somewhere out there somewhere, right? But I don't see it. I think it's right there. See, it's covering that ground. Yeah. It's one of the challenges of flying amongst other balloons is there's so much movement, and being sort of, you know, land livers, we don't really have a 3D perspective. Most of our experience is in roughly 2 dimensions, you know, and so it's very difficult to get your bearings on who's going up and down and coming close, and so you got to use references like the shadows and that kind of thing. Otherwise, it's really easy. Pretty tiny.
Yeah, he's right below us.
Okay.
But he was rising, that's why I'm putting this up. You're clear!
I haven't seen Corey. I bet he's just kind of hovering around up there too, huh?
Must be, yeah. No, there he is. Boy, that's
the wrong direction.
that is not anywhere near what the forecast was. I think we shouldn't do that. What do you think?
No, I don't. Yeah, I was enjoying going up, but that's not the direction I want to go. So, well, bummer.
So this says we're going 330 at half a knot.
Woohoo!
It's a nautical mile per hour.
It's sort of like miles per hour.
Okay, we're up to 2 knots, going 350. So I think you're in the right layer now. See that?
Yeah.
I think they were looky-loos.
Oh, okay.
I seen that car pull up and I didn't see anybody get out.
Oh, you know what? That might be Joe.
Oh, Joe, yeah.
You guys know Joe.
I do. I've cruised with him a couple times.
I like him a lot.
He's very nice. And he doesn't even hate me for being a libertarian. He's hardcore left.
Oh yeah, he is,
Yeah.
absolutely. He lives in France for half the year. His daughter owns a winery.
Right.
And then he lives here. And he's here early this year because his wife Cindy just had a hip replacement. And they felt like the medical care and coverage is going to be better here in the States.
Huh, no comment.
All right. He said they have insurance, and he says, yeah, getting medical care overseas. It's just tricky. He says it's easier for us to come home a month early and do it. But you don't. Very slowly we're going now. Yeah, so Joe owns 2 balloons. That are airworthy, one in France and one here.
He's got a Firefly here. I don't know what he has there.
Same thing, right? He used to have a Picard here.
Oh,
but he
yeah.
retired it just recently.
Regarding the gods. Right there.
Patrick had a passenger this summer who described it as somebody buried a Stegosaurus.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, yeah,
That's
I
cool.
can see that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking our chances of Sky Sox are pretty thin. What do you,
Very
what do you
thin.
think?
Phil wins the side bet today.
That's right.
I think you have a better chance of landing where you took off. than-
There,
Yeah,
right.
in there.
That's kind of what I got my eyes on. Wouldn't that be fun?
Over there.
So to make that, you'd have to overshoot it, right?
Depending on where
Right.
the winds are, but yeah, if we had a south wind at the surface and a north wind up here, we'd go north, overshoot it, drop down, and then take the south wind back to the field.
Because if we tried to go down now, as we went down, it'd push us more that way.
Presuming that there's a south
Little bit,
wind, yes,
yeah.
it would push us past it. Correct.
just spit, and the other challenge that we'll have is as we drop down, it's going to the east.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's how Scott got out there.
Right.
And so, but then right near the ground, it does actually turn back that direction.
We'll land soon, baby.
Yeah, come on. You can sit down and look at that.
We did make it to about 30 minutes though.
Okay, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
This tank's down to about 25. How are you doing on that?
About the same, a little bit more
Okay.
actually.
So what I'm going to recommend is that we take a pretty aggressive approach towards the ground, and then we level out near the ground and see if we can get that turn that gets us back into the field.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking aggressive because there's a layer in the middle that's going
Going
that
that
way.
way, right?
So if we go down quickly-ish,
Okay.
and then we can go that direction, then we've got a good opportunity to get into the field.
Okay. That one. You're right.
Either way. No, I was just getting it out of the way.
Oh.
So in this
I mean,
kind
we're
of a
already
deal,
dropping pretty quick.
yeah, we're dropping. So you want to make sure that you got your hand on the vent just in case you need it.
All right.
And then we're gonna descend a fair bit, and then we're actually gonna deliberately overburn to be able to catch the descent more quickly.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And so then once we get there, like I say, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna overburn, and then when we feel that overburn kick in, we'll do a little vent and we'll level out.
Okay.
So let's let it cool off just gradually here. No need to vent, no need to burn.
To the 11 Spring Tower, 60103, runway
Okay, this
17
feels
left.
like about 400.
Maybe 600. Yeah.
Okay.
17.
Oh, yep, you can start catching that. Too much. It's okay. Because what will happen is if you level out in this, we're going to stay longer in
Wrong
there.
way, right?
Okay, so now you can feel we've just exited that east layer. Do you feel the breeze change on your face? Now you can start catching it. We're also in a cooler, you're going to want to vent. We're in a cooler layer, and so what that means is it's going to take less heat. Turn's gone, everything just went soft. That's right. Okay, now turn, make sure you're going.
Contact departure. Ribbon. Left today's note.
Another building. It's going to be a storage area. Where people rent the space and keep the stuff they can throw away.
That was nice, Scott.
Flared it.
Well, yeah, he talked about overburn, but sure, yeah, he was dropping fast.
To Kilo Sunrise to Chase. We're doing great. We were hoping we might get a turn back towards the field, but that's not happening. So if you want to ease out towards the south, that would be great. Okay, so if it all works out,
Yeah.
I think we should be thinking about a landing soon in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah.
If there's an easy spot to do that, like, you know, maybe out here in this open, not in the, you know, space that's roughed in, but I don't know if it's going to be.
Oh, bonk.
I don't know what the ground wind's going to do. I think it's going to generally be headed south, but we might fit in sort of this area here, or maybe the end of the road. We'll see, something like that. But you can just sort of start very gradually easing down with an eye on the buildings and all that kind of stuff. Okay. In this little corner spot, I don't see much in the way of obstacles, no stakes. And, sort of these plumbing rough ends is the highest thing I see sticking. We're thinking about a landing. We're not sure where, but we're hoping maybe right out in here. You see sort of where the weeds are there on the other side of the red tarp. So remember that when we do that, you're going to be hanging on and bending your knees. And we'll let you know once we come. It won't be a surprise. Green pipe out here is our only obstacle,
Right.
heavy burn. Stop and wait. Now vent a little bit. Yep, you want to get on the vent, on the vent. There you go, nice. That's vent good. Almost. That's right. That's good vent right there. All right, nicely done. You go ahead and warm that up a little. Sorry, that was my fault.
That's okay. That was awesome.
Okay. That was scary, wasn't it? But okay, what we're gonna do, this might seem awkward, but we're gonna kick you guys out and we're gonna fly home.
Okay. Are we?
And so that way, we can, unless you don't want to.
No, yeah, no, I'm totally fine.
So, sweetheart, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift you up. I'm gonna pick you up, and then I'm gonna sit you right over here. And what you want to do is not be standing in front of us, because when we take off, we'll go that direction.
Let me know when you're ready.
And so that way, I assume you have a phone.
I do.
You can call your wife.
I can, absolutely.
And that way, we won't ding.
So when I get out, it should help y'all get right up.
That's right. So if you're going to go out this way, just make sure you step to the side
Gotcha.
fairly quickly.
All right.
Okay, I see all three balloons. I think you're clear. Your biggest obstacles are these light poles here.
Okay.
All ready?
Yeah.
See you guys. Sunrise today, but we're going to take the next right turn. We let our passengers go here in the field right next to the home. Sorry about that, I just misjudged that.
That's okay.
The reason I wanted to be so close to the pipe is so that if we overburned, we had all the
Yep.
field to use up.
Right.
And in general, my rule of thumb, both on inflations, landings, trade outs like that, anything like that, I like to spend the minimum amount of time on the ground as we can.
Right.
Because balloons just don't behave well on the ground,
Right. There's our chase. So.
As we know from the tether, you know, they just rock around, and that's when people get hurt, right?
Yeah.
You smash a toe or something like that. So even though it's a little bit sort of socially awkward,
Right.
obviously, if it had just been Piper, it wouldn't have been a big deal, or we wouldn't have done that.
Right. Right.
But it's just like, oh,
They're getting in right now.
yeah.
So we're good.
And I saw the chase crew coming down the road.
Yeah.
All right, well, Scott's second run at landings was significantly better.
Yeah. It's a pretty tight little space you put it in there.
Yeah, he's actually quite a good pilot.
Just a little nervous.
Nervous and rusty. And the problem is you got to just keep flying.
Sure.
And then, of course, when you're rusty, you're extra nervous, and then you fuck it up, and it makes you even more
Yep.
nervous. And it's just,
Sure.
it's really rough going. So much for Sky Sox, huh? Well, and I'm glad Corey went up to check that high wind and showed us that that's not what
the
we
way,
wanted.
right?
Isn't that funny how much we put two pie balls up,
Yep.
and they were totally different than what
Yeah.
we saw.
Number 1 Whiskey Tango at departure. Good morning. Thanks for now.
A little bit of a left turn, maybe. Nice. Hi guys, thanks for picking up the hitchhikers.
Airport 10, roger.
That was not us.
Of course, I wouldn't leave them. Thanks for dropping them off.
So you see how quickly kids get bored?
Yes.
Hey, when are we gonna land? I'm done. And it's totally normal.
Sure,
It has nothing
yeah.
to do with the kid.
Right.
And so that was sort of, in my mind at least, always the plan to
Right.
land after about a half an hour, kick her
Right.
out, and then move along. And of course, the other advantage we have is that now as the temperature's warming up, we're flying lighter.
Right.
And so you start heavy and then go light. Okay, and this isn't working. What's going on with it? Turn that off.
Air Flight 2822, smooth tower.
It says 82 degrees.
003, 7.7 left, clear to land.
What we can do, might be interesting. Is there any reason why that would be on the wrong code and we would get a temperature? So tell me a little bit about sort of your flight plan and your landing options here. What are you thinking?
Whale. Man, I'd sure like to be on the other side of Powers.
Okay.
David, I think
looks
I'm going
like
to
he's
drop
getting a
down.
little bit of
Yeah,
a
I think
left.
I'm going to let us drop down a little bit.
Okay.
See if we can't get some of that. We're definitely moving south-ish, and I feel like there was more south as we were a little bit lower. So I think I'm going to drop it down and see if we can't get some left and or south.
Okay.
And at these speeds, I mean, these fields over here or these fields here, if we can get into those speed rates. These parking lots here have a lot of light poles. So I'm gonna,
See if we can't get a little left, a little south. Okay. So the way I start to sort of think about landing opportunities, I think you're exactly right. Thinking, okay, drop down, get a left, a lot of open space. You're thinking absolutely correct. In addition, I typically will find that I look at the landscape in layers. You know, think about like the old transparency layers. So my eye immediately goes to the really big stuff, right?
Right.
That's field, that field, that field, that field. And then I think, okay, well, boy, those are all a long ways away. We've had a lot of calmness. So then I sort of peel back one more layer and I think, oh, okay, well, that parking lot looks okay. Well, that parking lot looks okay. That, that park looks nice. You know, there's a little tiny field there. That kind of thing looks fine. This field looks fine. And so I start to just narrow down into how big of an area do I need, right? And especially in this context, if I had to really start going another layer, like could I land in a street? In this context, the only reason we would have to land in that street is because it went really cold.
Right.
At which point, yeah, these streets are nice and wide, and so, you know, that's typically how I look at it. And then I try to drive it to the biggest thing that I can find that gives me some options.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and.
Okay. I would recommend you get yourself in a level profile. Ideally, you'd want to be level-ish or maybe even climbing before you did fuel change.
Makes sense.
Because
Sure.
that way if something goes wrong, you got time to work the problem.
Right.
Now, in this case, you got two burners anyway.
But still, as a general rule,
You know,
makes
the only thing that could cause a concern in that environment is if you had a leak. And, you know, you don't really want to add fire to a leak. So even if you had another burner, you could be at risk.
right. Right.
So it's not deflated there in the paper. That's an odd choice to me. So we're certainly getting some south now.
Yeah.
It feels kind of straight down that road.
Maybe a hair to the right.
Yeah, maybe. The nice thing is we know we got a lot of fuel. David's crew is pulling into that field like maybe he's got his eyes on that.
Right.
I like that field if we could get just a little bit more left.
Right.
I mean, obviously I see trees, I see light poles. I don't know if there's a fence to contend with in there. I don't think there is. I certainly don't see anything. But like you say, I feel like we're going even more right than that.
786 November, right here, the option. 786 November, 1 right.
Want to stand backwards somewhere?
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch as David descends and see what kind of a turn he
Yep.
gets.
I feel like it's to the right. There's that other field that's to the right over there,
The
past
park
the little
down there?
houses, yeah. Depending on where we end up.
Yeah, or even depending on what kind of a turn there is, you could even drop down and get the turn and go into this area.
Oh yeah.
We know that's accessible. But I actually like that park. I feel like we're sort of headed right towards it. Especially if we have a little right turn on the deck, sort of going right into the houses and then swooping down into that park. Be nice.
Spring start, proceed on 2, runway 17 left.
I wouldn't anticipate this today, but something to be aware of in this kind of configuration is that we're approaching a balloon that is looking for a landing, we
Yeah.
think. There is a possibility that
changes
something
his
will
mind.
go wrong, and if he changes his mind,
Come up real fast.
typically they'll abort quickly, you know, and so we've got to be aware of that. If he came up now, it'd be fine, but if we were real
Makes
close
sense.
when he did it, and especially if he's laser focused on the landing, he's probably
Not paying
looking
attention to
behind.
us, right?
So like in a crowded situation, if I was trying to land right in on top of him, I'd be yelling at him right now. You know, hey, we're there, we're coming into the same field, and just to get his attention about, hey, we're here, you know. Interesting, he just got a little bit of a left turn on the ground. Okay, what are your thoughts about a flight plan?
Well, I mean, there's almost enough room to make the same field there. If we get that bit of a left as we get down there.
Okay. Why don't we just ease down and see if we if we get a left turn into that field, let's take it. If we don't, that park is available. If we get a hard right, we got stuff out
Sure.
there. The tallest obstacles are the trees and the flagpoles, both sides of the street. I don't see any power lines, light poles on the street down there. I do see some fence posts or sign posts or something along the
Yep,
road.
I see those. Thank you.
Right now, I don't feel like we're getting the turn to get in there.
To that other park.
Yep, I would stay right around this height and see sort of how we track towards that park.
Right.
The other weird thing you'll find is as you ascend and descend, the balloon slips in the wind. It's a weird phenomenon, and sometimes it's predictable, sometimes it's not. But typically, like as we descended, we just slipped right. So sometimes you can lose 50 meters on a slide like that.
Right.
So, if we had the option, I would prefer the park on the left than the one on the
As opposed
right.
to the school or
I
whatever that
think the
is.
school is more likely to have locked gates on the side.
Right. Getting pretty hard right.
Yeah, we are, but there might be a little bit of a left. Let's see.
Contact departure.
That bit went pretty straight. Might have had a little left hook on it, but not much. And notice that there's a big step out there by Hancock also. So if we don't like the school,
Right.
like right now I'm not confident about the park.
No.
I think the school we could hit. Access to the school could be an issue. And then there's that field on the other side of the other houses there that could be also a problem.
Okay.
Colorado competition circles, this is called the Bruce Wood Memorial Park.
Bruce Wood Memorial.
Because we have put several targets in that park.
Oh yeah.
And Bruce came back once after missing it for the 3rd week in a row. And he says, this park is going to kill my competition career.
That's hilarious. Memorial, gotcha. Yeah. Not sure I see access
I don't see
to
access
the
in
school
there
here
either.
either.
I think we're better off flying on it.
Okay.
Because at this rate, I think there's a field on this side of the intersection, and there's the big field on the other side.
Right.
So once we get a better view, we can choose whether we want to land short of the intersection or go long.
Okay.
Now there's obviously a lot of street lights and traffic signals and things like that. I think up there aren't any power lines on this coming in road. I think they actually stop here, but we'll keep an eye on that. And I'm fairly confident, not 100%, but I'm fairly confident we do have access into that field across there.
Right.
Corey made it all the way back there. Nice. Okay, so now that we've got a better visibility, do you prefer this side of the road or going over?
I mean, I prefer the other side, I believe.
Okay. And you see the power lines going north-south over there?
Dude.
Okay. Because you don't want to set up too aggressive descent as you're coming into this building.
Maybe this park on the left here.
On the far side of
On the left side of the road.
At Four Cone Tower, and 360 at 7, runway 17 left, clear. Remember, runway 17 right, clear.
Fence over there too.
Talk about what you're thinking.
Right. I'm thinking that we're probably going to cross the road there
Okay.
and drop in right after the power lines.
Okay.
Obviously there's that group of trees, but I feel like it might be to the left of that.
Make sure we got ice forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see street lights and I see the power lines on the north-south road. Those are your biggest hazards. I see the copse of trees over there. I agree. I think we'll be sort of south of those trees as we cross the power lines. I like the idea of the landing past the power lines, past the trees before the warehouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we get. they're crossing the power lines at a level profile.
Right.
Okay, for Tango Springs down, we'll shortly 17 left, landing traffic.
Kilo Sunrise to Chase. We are starting to look for a landing. We'll be somewhere south along Murray here. Certainly nothing.
Get narrower.
So now as we got lower, we got a little bit of a left shift, right? So this area is getting narrower. Now, interestingly though, the power lines end here.
And right there, yeah.
So do you want to drop down? Obviously not right now.
Right.
But as we cross over, and we've gotten enough for the turn back, spacing wise, you want to drop down and see if that space by the van is available, or we could go down to that construction area. That's
Right.
also available.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can get this first one. If I don't feel comfortable, though, we'll just go on to the next construction site there.
Now we're in a negative profile over the power.
Yes. I feel more comfortable with the construction side.
That's great. And I think we're at just the right altitude.
There is another set of power lines between us.
I see several actually.
Yes, on both sides of the...
In the warehouse along with that camper storage.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Yeah.
Construction area about another half a mile south of us before the main road. So I see, like I say, power lines in here amongst the tubes areas.
Yes.
And then I see something that looks like a tall pole coming off that last warehouse.
Yep.
These power lines along the road here. And it sort of looks like the power lines end at that warehouse, but we'll keep an eye on them. I also think there's a possibility that we'll get a left shift, at which point we've got that open field across the road.
Right.
We've got a lot of options still.
Okay.
Okay, so we're almost past this power line. We got one more on our right hand side there. I do anticipate a little bit of a left shift as we come down. Not much though. Happy with this area still.
Yeah.
This pole is our tallest obstacle. There is a fence here just in front of the berm.
Yep.
Okay. So So now that we're clear of these power lines, now we want to start descending. I'll say aggressively, but you know, so we can give it a little bit of a vent. Yeah, there you go. Now, okay, go ahead and let keep burning. Burn, burn. And now vent. We're gonna be right here, Travis. Right here. Okay, and bend your knee. Way down. Nicely done. Let that vent out. Okay, I'm not sure that it'll stand up again.
Right.
Bill, can I hand you this rope? There you go. We're just going to go ahead and lay it right down. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, shut your fuel off. I did that. Harder than I wanted, but oh, I think it was great. I really do. No doubt, very definitive. The only thing I would have done differently was to let go of the vent just a little bit earlier to give you more capability to stand it back up.
Gotcha.
But I thought it was great. Okay, you ready to lay down? Take that parachute out. Now with the balloon this soft, you're going to find you're going to take quite a bit of rope because the balloon sort of squeezes in on the sides, you know. All right. Well done. I'm going to talk to the security guy. You're not. You got some chance. Okay, well that was pretty nice, huh?
Heck yeah.
So I was a little bit uncomfortable up there on our last approach with getting in a negative profile over the power line. And I think the phenomenon is target fixation. When you're looking at your landing, descending was absolutely the right thing to be doing. But we were currently over an obstacle that when you're looking out, you're not aware of what's right below you. Whereas this approach was perfect, absolutely perfect. Because you want to be, you know, obviously this stake, and they're always in exactly the wrong spot, right? But you want to be approaching that. We cleared the pole, cleared the power lines, and then started the descent. And you can see in a balloon like this that performs so well, we were level and came down and leveled out, and no big deal. I mean, and that landing was about 250 feet a minute. Not bad at all. And you want to have a definitive landing in this kind of case because you want to get it short, as opposed to, well, let me flare it out, and then I'm going to be in all these. And there's no passenger in the world that is going to complain about that landing. Nothing.
Just Scott.
I'm glad you got a ride. I was worried about you.
She was shaking when she got in the car.
Dirt.
She like jumped and was like,
Woo! She was like, oh, I'm so proud of myself.
We are too.
Yeah.
well, that's not working out too well. You wanna get on my knees,
I'm going to grab the envelope back.
Can you pull the top first before we do this? Or can we do it afterwards? Alright.
Your kids don't like kids.
this is a huge field.
Now, not
Yeah.
around.
Well, but with the approach, it gets pretty skinny. You know, when you think about, man, my approach line doesn't get to use all of that
Right.
field. Now you can feel a little bit of that. If we had wanted to come down earlier and get that extra approach. So, for example, if I felt like we were going to miss this one, we're getting into a bit of a fuel situation. So my plan was, if we had descended here and for some reason overflared, I would have vented and hit our left foot again. And there's several backup points. But yeah, isn't it interesting how your nerves build up? Okay, we're going to get into David's field.
Yeah, all those things are the thing that was bothering me, or that got my nerves up, was when I noticed that I was in a negative outflow. From that point to here, I've been obviously calmed down, freak out, but I had tried to go for level flight over it. You're right, I was targeting this thing a little bit. My eye on the ball.
Yeah, and it's challenging because when you're out here, yeah, you were in the right slope to land. But one of the advantages of flying in the springs is there's almost always a right?
Barely feel like that. I'm with the precious cargo.
Your arms are exactly the right spacing.
Too crazy up going over them. I need to be down this side.
Scott looked like he had a little fun. You see that?
Yeah, his last approach to the landing was significantly better. He landed in the parking lot. It was actually quite nice.
Yeah.
What's the cost of getting rusty?
Right. You gotta kind of.
How long if the tweak flights is not okay?
It depends on who you are. Legally, you have to have 3 takeoffs and landings every 90 days. At less than that, then you're not allowed to. Now, and the reason I say it depends on who you are is some people spacing that I recommended? What did I recommend? Okay, so you hold your arms out like that. Okay. Notice that comes to here. You were using this as your measurement. So, you shorted every space by about a foot. So what do you want to do then? Looks like there's a couple edges there. Maybe we just missed them. I bet I dropped it. Looks good.
I'm a hard worker. I'll never give up.
You are a hard worker. It's in your blood.
Oh, yeah. And it keeps on going. And what are we gonna do now?
As soon as we get this unhooked, we're going to throw everything in the bag.
Yay, that's my favorite part. I wanna go back to school.
You want to try to wrap the last tape around then, or just bump it?
Oh, we can do that. You gonna do that, Mike? You know how those work?
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna bounce it. Ready? Nice. I think that needs a seat. What do you think?
There you go.
Selfie it.
You liking your new phone?
I am.
Selfie it.
All right,
Hey,
I'll
don't
selfie it.
film.
Well, now I was sinking in that spot. I gotta go to higher ground here.